You wake up in Imperial China, and the nobleman you just fucked is looming over you with a cleaver. Not murder, something weirder. He's butchering his own sleeve. The obscenely expensive silk one you passed out on. Congratulations, you just earned the cut sleeve. The most romantic gesture that also paints a bullseye on your spine. And now the game starts. The incredibly specific, incredibly deadly game of how do you rise from mopping floors to draping in silk without every palace busybody piecing it together and arranging your death by aggressive vegetable insertion? Correct, vegetables. Aggressively, until death. That's what happens when you climb too fast, when you slip away after dark with no excuses. So you go slow. You keep mopping, you keep bowing. You just drift closer to where decisions happen. Your wardrobe levels up thread by thread, like grinding for superior armor in a fucked up RPG. Because if anyone connects the dots too early, if gossip reaches a bitter eunuch, a suspicious minister, a scorned concubine, you're fucked. And fucked doesn't mean unemployed. It means seized, degraded, and executed in ways that make you wish they just stuck with beheading. But that's if you're the servant. What if you hold the power? What if you're the noble? Bathhouse attendants, opera boys, private poetry instructors, whatever catches your eye. Nobody questions you. Until the Qing dynasty announces desire has penalties. 30 days locked up, 100 bamboo strikes. At least you're not in the Aztec Empire. Because there's no gradual strategy. Just, were you seen? If yes, you're dead. But here's the fun bit. How you die depends on your position. If you dominated, strangled. Public death. If you submitted, they disembowel you conscious. Then burn what's left. Because per Aztec theology, your flesh is divine property. And violating it demands peak punishment, peak spectacle, peak nightmare material. Then Spaniards arrive with crosses and attack dogs, take one look and decide, needs more brutality. They introduce whips, stakes, and dogs trained to rip you into pieces. Because nothing screams spreading civilization like dogs trained for murder. You'd think, maybe Greece would have been safer. Everyone says the Greeks were relaxed, right? Sure, if you follow the invisible rulebook nobody handed you. In Athens, you can pursue a younger man, but only if he's the proper age. You're the teacher. He acts reluctant, and it stops cold when he becomes an adult. It's less romance and more homoerotic mentorship program with unclear rules and brutal penalties. You encounter him at the gymnasium. You train side by side, oil gleaming on your bodies beneath Greek sunlight. You attend symposia where wine circulates and debates run until sunrise. You absolutely refuse to call this dating with added paperwork. And if you fuck it up, if he seems too willing, or you're too blatant, your reputation becomes dirt. You're the guy everyone sidesteps at the symposium. Rome grabs the concept and makes it uglier. Here, age is irrelevant. Position is everything. You can fuck slaves, prostitutes, foreigners, anyone, as long as you're dominant, because submitting makes you a slave, a betrayer, disgraced. The senator extends his arm towards you across the marble floor. His toga whips as he spins to face the masses. One word, pathicus, and every head snaps toward you. Your future dissolves before he completes the charge. In feudal Japan, betting your master is simply part of training. You're a young warrior apprentice. You study swordwork, tactics, poetry, honor. And yeah, sometimes you share your lord's bed. There's a term for it, wakashudo. It's a practice. It carries ideals of loyalty, sacrifice, shared devotion. It's entirely sanctioned, until it isn't. Because one stolen message, your calligraphy on rice paper, the ink barely dry, falls into hostile hands. One envious competitor spreads rumors to your lord, and suddenly you're kneeling in the courtyard at first light, wakizashi blade pressed to your belly, enacting seppuku because someone doubted your honor. Feudal Japan doesn't give a fuck about your emotions. It cares about appearances, and appearances will kill you. But at least it's not labeled a sin yet. That transformation comes later. In ancient India, you're actually relatively safe. The Kama Sutra includes instructions for pursuing other men. The Hijra, folks existing as a third gender, bless weddings, witness births, move among nobility. In Thailand, the Cathay entertained monarchs. Nobody panics. Then the British roll in with Section 377 of the Penal Code, criminalizing unnatural acts, and overnight your entire existence turns illegal. A statute composed in London gets stamped onto India, Nigeria, Singapore, Jamaica, Sudan. Everywhere the empire plants its flag. Cultures that tolerated you for generations now criminalize you using foreign ethics. And here's what kills you. It's not merely the statute. It's that your own neighbors, previously indifferent, now turn you in because the British persuaded them you're corrupt. Generations post-independence, the legislation persists, still active in dozens of nations. You're in Assyria now, and staying alive hinges on 3 absolutes. Never show weakness, never be passive, never get caught. If you're charged, if anyone merely suspects, you're publicly gelded, then killed. Not because it's sinful, because it signals weakness. And warriors don't tolerate weakness. Then the Abrahamic faiths show up, and everything shifts. Suddenly, it transcends warrior ethics and social hierarchy. It's about your eternal soul. Judaism states it in Leviticus, prohibited. Christianity says don't do it, plus eternal damnation awaits. Until interpretation changes, and suddenly, identical words warrant execution. You're in the Ottoman Empire, and hypocrisy is policy. The imam denounces sodomy as hell-worthy every Friday. That night, Kochak dancers perform at the Sultan's banquet. Young men in silk, bells on their ankles, very clearly not there for the music. Everyone knows what happens after. Nobody speaks it, because the rules are clear. Wealthy and discreet, no problem. Poor and public, you're executed in the market. The law exists to control the powerless, while the powerful do whatever they want. For centuries, this works. Then European diplomats show up clutching their pearls about Ottoman moral decay, while their own courts run identical operations, just with better denial. But here's what alters everything. Now it's transgression, moral contamination, something haunting you past death. You must repent, reject your nature to rescue your soul. And when these faiths expand, via military conquest, via colonial domination, via empire, they export these doctrines. They obliterate generations of tolerance. They substitute native traditions with foreign disgrace. Colonialism didn't merely redraw maps. It weaponized hatred, packaged shame, and branded it enlightenment. By the 1800s, industrialization makes surveillance possible, because now they can monitor you. Victorian England establishes heterosexual marriage as the only acceptable path. Authorities pound your door at 2 a.m. Their brass insignia gleams in the gaslight as they burst inside. Getting discovered means imprisonment, forced labor, and your identity published in the morning papers for the entire city to consume with breakfast. The 20th century doesn't deliver liberation. It delivers raids. You're dancing when illumination floods everything. Brutal overhead lights erasing the club's intimate shadows. Officers' footsteps on wood. Badge numbers you attempt capturing, but terror erases everything. And now, certain nations let you marry, raise kids, exist openly. In others, you remain criminal. Prison remains real. Death remains possible. Phantoms of collapsed empires, still possessing statutes that won't dissolve. You persist through concealment, through deception, through splintering yourself into digestible fragments. Or you push back, you resist, you refuse erasure. Because queer existence across history was never one narrative. It's countless narratives intersecting. Yours is one of them.